Welcome to our training video on adding a grant manually in the WebGrants system. For some grants, you may have already collected paper applications or may not have an application process in the WebGrants system. WebGrants has the option to create a manual grant and grant tracking component, allowing you to skip the application review process completely. There are certain fields that must be known or established prior, or you will not be able to add the grant manually. So you would log in with your internal user login. And first we will go to the funding opportunity. So number one, you must have a current funding opportunity in the system or create a new funding opportunity in closed status. This is where you can attach your form starting at the grant tab. You must do this before you can manually add your grant. So in the general information, you can actually keep that in closed status. We don't want to post this funding opportunity because we are not accepting applications at that time. You may in the future have a situation where you might be posting it later, accept new apps, but this is truly, when we add a grant manually, we're starting at the grant level. So if you click on your grant tab in the associated forms bar, this is where you want to actually add your forms that you're going to manage your grant with. So all of the documents, all the forms, they start at the grant level. You don't have to have any forms at all in the application or review. The second step is about the organization. So we need to verify that the organization and the main grantee of that organization already exist in the system. If not, you must have the external users, grantee, and any additional external contacts register to have access to the system, because you cannot create the manual grant unless you have the organization with at least one external user contact. And number three, when we go into grant tracking to actually add it, there are system fields that will be required. So you want to make sure that when we actually do this, that you have the information readily available to create it, or the system will not let you get past that wizard. So to create a manual grant, you will actually go into grant tracking and we will click add. We do not use the search. We're going to click add, and the first three fields of the step one of the grant wizard is to select the funding opportunity. And remember, this is probably in closed status. You want to give it a grant title. This is a large text box, so you can put anything in the title you would like: numbers, dashes, slashes, any special characters. And it does have a minimum character count of 250. The next field is the organization. So to locate that organization, you'll click on that button and you will be taken to the organization database. You will select your organization. Now you do have the option to have the system automatically generate a grant number for you. For this purpose, we're going to actually keep that checked when we are going through the wizard, so you can see how you can have it automatically generated and what the system does. But at the same time, you also have that option to change it. Okay, so we're going to go up and we're going to save that. And now you are in the step two. You're completing the grant general information. And as you can see, the grant number has the number in there. It's automatically been generated. We can change that grant number to any number we find necessary. It could be the contract number. It can have, again, slashes, dashes, all special characters, anything you'd like to add in there matching the contract. Grant title is what we entered initially. And then you'll see a status. Now, this is automatically going to default to the awarded status. And we will want to keep this in awarded status until we want to set it underway so the grantee can actually access the grant. So for now, we're going to start this in award, keep it in awarded status. The award year, this is a 4-digit year number. So you would put 2021, 2022, but you cannot put 20-21 or 20-22. This is a 4-digit number. As you can see, the program area and the organization we chose previously is locked down. It is now no longer editable, even for the internal user. So the system has went back when you selected that org, and it has collected all the people that are externally or internally associated with that organization. So we will select the main grantee contact, which is a required field. And then you can also add any number of additional grantee contacts. Your program officer is another field. Again, this is your main program officer. And you can also have as many additional internal contacts you would like. The program officer field is required because this is the person that will show up on numerous documents that the system generates automatically. You do have 4 dates that you can enter in for the contract. This is simply 4 date field that you can track when you sent the contract, when the contract was received, when legal signed the contract, and when the contract was executed. These are optional fields. You do not have to fill those out. The project dates, they show as optional, but I will tell you that you need to require that these actually be completed. There are system functionality that very much is dependent on the project dates in the system. So the project dates are also calendar date fields. We also have a restricted claim user field. Anyone listed in this field is only allowed to submit a claim. If you do not put anyone else in that field, no one can actually submit a claim. So when you manually create this grant, you may want to just put your main grantee and any additional grantee contacts in the beginning. That way, everybody, once you put the grant underway, will have access to submit claims in the system. And then you have a comments box. So you can enter in quite a bit of information. This is a large text box. So again, you can enter in once you have, any documentation or comments that you want to add, quite a few spaces in that one. Once you have completed all of these fields, you can go up to the top and you will save. Once you save, if you'd have to change the organization, you can go back, you can use the change organization button, or you can click edit the form and get back in to all of the fields again, the grant number, grant title, so on and so forth. This is now created as a grant in the system. So you wouldn't have to complete any one of those forms. And again, the funding opportunity is what's driving all the forms and the security of those forms. But you have now created that grant as a grant, and you could search for it in your grant tracking search. At this point, you would manually go in and update all the forms, or you would negotiate them back to the grantee to be completed. And this concludes our video training on manually creating a grant. Thank you.